All right, y'all. We have a very special guest on the podcast today. Now, she doesn't know it, but I've been a fan of hers for quite some time. So, Kayla Houchin is here. She is the founder of Sonder Bakehouse. She is a evangelist, like rock star advocate for charity water. And we're going to talk about how she's weaved in her entrepreneurial spirit into helping so many people have access to clean drinking water. So, Kayla, I will give you a warm welcome and let you introduce yourself a bit more. Tell us about you.
Wow, that was such a sweet welcome. Yeah, kind of just what you said. I've got this bakery. Kind of grew up baking. Always had a love for it, kind of a passion for it. And then in 2012, so a while ago, I found out about charity water. And then for years now, I've just been trying to combine those two things that I'm really passionate about, just giving and serving others.
Yeah.
And then Sonder and charity water. And yeah, kind of just figuring out how I can do that and kind of
And
stumbling through it.
Figured it out. Like, we will link to your Instagram feed. So your Instagram feed is like this beautiful mix of amazing baked delicious goods, right? It's like you in the kitchen, it's you and your amazing cakes and treats and things like that. And then all of a sudden there'll be like a yellow bucket, right? The yellow, right? And
Jerry can.
you have weaved in that as part of like your mission so beautifully. But let's start from the beginning. How did you first hear about charity water and what made you feel connected to the mission?
So in 2000, well, it was 11 or 12.
Okay.
I was reading the book Start Something That Matters by Blake McCoskey. He's the founder of Tom's Shoes. So buy a pair and then they give a pair to someone in need. So yeah, kind of a one-for-one model. And in that book, which I really enjoyed, he mentioned a couple nonprofits that he thought were doing awesome things. And one of them was charity water.
Yeah.
So I remember like Googling it and just being intrigued, but not acting on it, not doing anything with that little information that I had. Well, months down the road, I don't know how I stumbled across it exactly, but Fargo's pretty small. The founder, though, Scott Harrison, he was speaking in Fargo, just at this free, it was like some health pitch event, it was called.
My mouth is open. I'm like, that's so cool.
But
and
yes,
like synchronicity.
so I went to that, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
You're
like,
about,
I'm going to go check this out.
Yeah, I was curious. And then I just felt like I was opened up to this whole other world. And it was extremely frustrating. And that was in 2012. And it's, 13 years later, and we still haven't created the will to solve this problem. We know how to, but we need more of us to get on board. Like the will isn't quite there yet for a lot of us. And I think, that's probably lack of awareness still. But, because I mean, charity water was like, I think they were going on year 6 or 7 when I became aware.
Okay.
So yeah, just kind of doing things.
What happened next? So you go to this event, you hear Scott speak, which he's an amazing speaker. So I'm guessing you're like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm interested. Then what? Did you join the spring? Did you just kind of follow them for a little while? Like, what, do you remember what your next step was?
There's been so many steps over the years. Oh my gosh. I don't think I joined the spring till 2018, whenever they started it. But, so it must have been 2012. Scott and I talked about this and we're like, not sure. Think it was 2012.
Sure. Yeah.
But it must have been because in 2013, I did my first birthday campaign for charity water.
Yep.
So the charity water kind of came up with this model years ago, and other people do it now, of course, for other things that they care about, but just essentially saying like, hey, I'm turning 35. Like, I don't need any gifts. I have, more than I could ever need. Like, would you want to donate, in honor of my birthday? So, I mean, it's really easy, like the birthday campaign, and you can do everything on their website. Like, it's a couple clicks of a button for you to start your own birthday campaign.
So super easy, super frictionless. But at that time, like what made you, or what? So it was easy. You were interested. You wanted to help. Did you have
Mhm.
any resistance to like, who's going to donate to this fundraiser? Or were you like, I'm just going to give it a shot?
Oh, I
Did you have
think
the
I put
bakery
my
then?
goal as like a 500 or 1,000.
Yeah.
No, that first year I did. No, I was in college.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
still technically would bake.
Yeah.
I think it was 2011, July, that I officially or really started taking a lot more orders when I made a Facebook page.
Hmm.
Um, but the bakery I'm in I got in here May of 2021 is when it was
Okay.
finished being built. Um,
So you run your first birthday campaign. Maybe your goal is somewhere around $500. That
I
sounds
think
about
it
right.
was.
Yeah. I feel like for a first one, I feel like that's good. Like a good neutral place to start that doesn't
Yeah.
feel impossible, right? But
Yeah.
here's the thing, like that happens. And then what makes you go, I'm going to do it again the next year?
Most people don't do that, which I kind of get why, right? You do it once, you did it, you're done. But I was like, I don't know. I don't have a ton of money to give, but like I want to keep spreading the word and then maybe there's other people that want to give.
Yeah.
I didn't do it every year, but I've done it just kind of on and off majority of the years. And then so
I have to give the listener like a little footnote narration, which is like, dear listener, Kayla has raised over $100,000 in her birthday fundraisers for Charity Water. I looked this morning. That's at least what
well,
it. So like
I think it's
you, yes,
147,000.
yes, what you have done is remarkable, like remarkable. So we started with a $500 fundraiser. You said you didn't have a lot of money personally to give. And then
Yep.
at some point you're like, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again.
And
And then that,
then
yeah, keep going.
yeah, then when I left Fargo for a couple years. I went to college here, left for a few years. I knew I'd be back. I was gone for like, yeah, it was like 18 months or 19 months.
Okay.
But then I moved back to Fargo it was like April of 2018. And then fall of 18, October, I'm reading Scott Harrison's autobiography, Thirst.
Mm-hmm.
So reading that book really changed the trajectory. It really truly changed the focus and kind of transformed like the mission of what is now Sonder Bakehouse.
Okay.
I just feel like I had such a greater purpose. I think I did, but I mean, of course I did before, and I did for Charity Water, but like just reading the book and just knowing so much more about it. I don't know. A handful
Yeah.
of my friends are like, you became obsessed. But I'm like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And like, I've just learned over the years the most like sustaining, like life giving things to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just joy and like giving and serving others. Like, this is the best way that I know how to do that really is through Charity Water because at the end of the day, I want to make the biggest impact that I can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 700 million people right now. Still 1 in 10 that don't have access to life's most basic need.
Yep.
I think that's where I can make the biggest impact. I wrote down some goals as I was
Yeah.
reading the book and like the question I had at the top was what can I do to make the biggest impact?
Mm-hmm.
And then also that kind of winter I've started telling people about it here. Just friends and family more about Charity Water and then this gal that I just became good friends with, well, both of them really, they're both wedding vendors and I've been in the wedding circuit for a while. So one of them's a photographer and one of them has like a rental studio and boutique and furniture and
Yep.
just rentals for weddings. So I was talking to both of them and I was like telling them about Charity Water and told them I wanted to do this birthday campaign. Well, she's like, I can take photos, use my space. So every year now, since 2018, I've taken photos just because I want to promote it
Yep.
and just kind of spread the word. And then that birthday campaign really kind of took off,
Mm-hmm.
unlike any other one has really. I was teaching at an elementary school at the time at this
Mm-hmm.
private school, and they invited me to speak at chapel. So that was pretty cool because a lot of kids got on board with it. I had a fifth grader bring me $100 bill. I was a PE teacher.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, I got all straight A's. My parents gave me $100 for getting straight A's here.
Wow.
A kindergartner brought me a bag full of coins. I think I was like crying every other day in the gym class. I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids get it though. Like I see that. I
Yeah,
saw that in the gym a lot too. Um, just how they see issues is like black and white, fair and unfair.
that's
So like
right.
so many of these kids got it. And it was so cool how that all just kind of happened. There was this fifth grade boy, and then this other girl kind of started doing it too. They made bracelets. I have a couple still.
Yeah.
They were these beaded bracelets, and you could order them in like different colors and stuff. And I think they gave me like over $200. And then just like was on a radio interview and local TV, and then like World Water Day. I wasn't expecting this. I remember I was
Yep.
visiting my friend in Vancouver. It was like over Easter weekend, and someone sent it to me.
Yeah.
It was just our local paper, but it was on the front page. And they're like, yeah, this will be like maybe in, the business section. And I
Yeah.
was like, so that like helped spread the word a lot.
Do you remember
And
how much how much you were trying to raise for that birthday campaign?
I don't remember what I wrote as a goal. Maybe
Yeah.
like 10,000. I don't
Yeah.
remember. But it raised like over 17,000.
Wow.
And then also
Wow.
the beginning of that, I have to backtrack a little bit. There was this local magazine that was kind of big in the area, a local free magazine.
Yeah.
They asked me to do an article about baking. Well, it was pretty much all about charity water. And for that
Uh-huh.
birthday campaign too, I was also just spending my time and then the cost of the materials making macarons and cakes
Yep.
for and then giving all the money to the birthday campaign. So that helped get a lot of traction to that magazine article because they also ended up putting a cover up. It was just me holding a cake on the
Yeah.
cover. Again, was not expecting that. It wasn't a charity water cover exactly, but like the photos in the magazine and stuff was all kind of
Yeah.
about this birthday campaign. And then the coolest thing happened from there too. I remember I was like in the equipment room at school, and someone called me. She saw the article in the magazine and she wanted
Yeah.
a cake for her daughter's birthday. Well, I get to know her because I'd never, this person was a stranger before, and I got to know her more. And she's like, we're charity water supporters. Here I come to find out
Yeah.
they were well members at one point in time. So if you're part of the well, you are part of like 130 families that pay for the overhead costs.
Yep.
All the salaries, the
Yep.
toner and the copier, like everything. Because you and I, the general public, every penny.
Oh yeah. It's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So just their model and the way they operate really turned me on to them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just never thought that there would be well members in Fargo. And she didn't even tell me that because I had supper with her.
Yeah.
And because this was just in March, and a couple weeks later, I went to Charity Water headquarters.
Yeah.
Which they were then in New York City. They're not anymore after COVID, but there was a list on the wall, everyone's name that was a well member.
Yeah.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
So what did that
they're
shift
just also
for
very
you?
humble and gracious. I didn't realize it at the time, but I think it was just like, no matter where you're at, you can make such an impact. And like, yes, this is North Dakota, but like people all across all states are doing things
Yep.
for charity water. And I don't know why that surprised me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the first people that I had met that like knew about the organization.
I think it's that too of like, wow, there are people in my own hometown giving significantly towards this. And I had no idea. Like something there too, right? Of
all because I mean, if that article isn't there, there's,
Yeah.
So
you run these birthday campaigns. You're you're getting some like amazing grassroots marketing. So you're kind of getting the like local traction, the radio, some TV placements, the news articles. And it's interesting because what you've done is like really weave in your own entrepreneur story, your own, like as you're baking, you're doing the wedding circuit and weaving in charity water through it, which tells me this greater goal of like having this, whether it's give back or having some sort of wider goal of purpose. And oftentimes, so the podcast listeners are mostly nonprofits, people in social impact, nonprofit founders, nonprofit leaders, etc. And oftentimes they can be very in their own head about how to get people to peer fundraise, which is what you're doing, right? To run fundraisers for them. And what I tell them is like, they want to do it for a lot of the reasons that you're describing. Like it aligns with your own purpose. Yeah. Of like, there's something in it for you. It's not just,
definitely.
yeah. So talk to me about that. Like, and especially too, and I guess I'll jump in a little bit too of like, you're raising money for an organization. I don't know if you have traveled over to see any of the wells, but like all virtually from what I can tell. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I joked to Scott when he came to Fargo in 2020 because I hosted this gala for clean water. Excuse me, it was 2023. It was supposed to happen in 2020, and I can tell you know that whole story too if you want. But in that speech to him, I joked that that I wanted to go over and see it with my own eyes and stuff. So hopefully I'll get to one day.
Yeah.
I haven't put that on his radar in a while because I know he takes well members there. But if you're a well member, you're probably giving them millions and millions of dollars. So
but you've had such a connection to this cause, even though you haven't seen it in person. You've been able to really connect with the cause and the impact. Yeah.
They're so good at what they do. They're such, they're storytellers. So
yeah.
I feel like I've seen it almost sometimes. And there's been twice where once in New York City and then this past fall in Franklin, Tennessee. With Charity Water, I got to do a virtual reality headset. So I got to follow this girl's story. I think she was 9 or 10. This 8-minute video. And I don't know if you've ever done virtual reality.
So we have.
I felt like I was there. Like I so want to get that to Fargo. I just feel like that's the best way to make the biggest impact is if they see it. Like a video doesn't even compare after watching that.
I think it's so smart. So we have here in Atlanta, the Center for Civil and Human Rights, and it's very immersive. And as you said, like you can watch a video, but it is sort of a VR twist, almost a little bit before VR. So I can only imagine how like immersive this is too. I think that's so interesting too. And like I also want to hear about the gala because now we're talking about like what started as the $500 birthday fundraiser, then sort of the 10K goal with the 17,000, right? Actual, and then, it's starting to really build. And then let me give you a little behind the scenes. So I work with nonprofits. I teach them fundraising. I teach them marketing. I teach them a lot of peer.
You teach me a lot.
No. I'm about to, I don't know if I'm going to embarrass you, blow your mind or what, take it as a compliment. But I teach them about how the peer fundraising, what you're doing, birthday fundraising, working with influencers, working with ambassadors online is key, right? Just getting kind of that scale. And there was years and years ago where I was checking out Charity Water's feed and I was going over to the little tagged section, right? So you can see what brands and individuals are talking about Charity Water, who's advocating for them, right? And there's Kayla. There is Kayla. And then time goes by and there you are again. And there you are again. And then I'm following you. You're on my radar. I'm like, look at her go. Slow clap. Look at her go. And then all of a sudden I see a gala and I'm like, holy crap. Like she is a woman with a vision, a woman on a mission, there's Scott Harrison at the gala, right? Like you're a force. You're a force. So talk to us about the gala. Like this has evolved. It's so cool.
Oh my gosh. You are so uplifting. I think I really needed to hear that. Oh my goodness.
I want to just bookmark that
Wow.
everyone listening right now is no doubt going, where do I find my Kayla? Which we'll get to that at the end. Like you're a gift to Charity Water. No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
Likewise, they make me feel like family. It's so special. And but going back to reading Thirst, of course I'd never met Scott, never spoken to him, never, but I wrote that question, what can I do to make the biggest impact? I don't even know how I came up with a gala. I think maybe because I knew like that's a fundraiser. You get people together, you do what you can. Never had been to one until I hosted one.
I love it.
So I just thought, gosh, if I can just spread the word and bring people together and have Scott here, then, whatever they give, they give.
Mm-hmm.
So I emailed him a really, really long email thinking, he's not going to read this. Chances are he's not going to read this. That's what I thought. I don't know why I thought that. Like 5 or 6 weeks later, I got a response. And he said he'd come to Fargo. And, that was just an idea. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to figure a lot of things out. I just kind of put it out there. But so that wedding circuit has really been really special throughout this. Scott Definitely. And Carrie this husband and wife. They're the Gathered, the boutique rental place. So they were the first people that I told this about. Just because they're just such visionaries too to me, and just the things they can create and do. And Scott's got a theater background, and he's like just very outgoing and like has been an MC for events. He wasn't the first year for me, but he was last year and he will be this year. But Scott said he was on board. So I was like, okay, we have to make this happen. But I had like a full year, I think. Because I think it wasn't till May I hopped on and Carrie and Scott were there because I was so nervous. I was like, I've got a video chat with Scott Harrison. What do I do? Because he's a hero to me. He is. I don't have many heroes in my life, and he is certainly one of them. But anyways, we talked a little. It was really brief, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll come to Fargo." So we had like a whole year to kind of plan it, and then COVID hit. So we called it off like late March.
Yep.
And then finally figured things out, I guess. And in 2023 in May, he came and we did it. And I was just still so glad that he was, on board. And then last year we had Charity Water's creative director speak.
Yep.
And then this year I know who I want it to be. But not quite sure yet who it will be, but it doesn't really matter because anyone for Charity Water will be fantastic. So it's just a little, we eat and hang out and I speak and Charity Water. We get to hear more about them. And then like last year I did a live auction at the very last minute last year. There's going to be a live auction again and just a few other things, but it's also kind of simple.
Yep.
Because I still like fundraising and galas I know I've done a few, but it still seems like I'm not there's so much I don't know about it. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I try and keep it simple.
Yep.
And the hardest thing for me probably is selling those tickets and those tables.
You and
just
everybody
really
listening.
Putting myself out there. Right. Okay. So
yep.
It came together both years, thankfully, right? But nothing stresses me out more than that.
Yep. Is it always down to the wire, last minute, trying to sell the tables, or is it like
it has been. It shouldn't be
very
anymore.
normal. That's very normal. Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm gonna put this out there. We're gonna sell out like by April. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but you have brought charity water to your community
Yeah,
with
I just
this
want
now,
them to
like
be aware of it.
in person now, this will be the fourth year
Or
happening.
third year,
This
third
will be the
year.
third.
Yep.
Like that's remarkable. Like people who charity water was not on the map for, or maybe they knew about it just a little bit, and just bringing people together for it is so cool. And having this be an annual event, and having this event be put on and run by you, somebody who was like, you know what, this is an organization I want to get behind. This is an organization that when I first learned about it, I could give, I don't know, $100 and that's all I've got. And you've just stair stepped your impact and gone outside of what you yourself could even give monetarily. And you've given so much more by having that awareness piece. I think it's so cool. So cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting people aware, and then, you know, it's up to them if they
Yeah.
want to put their dollars behind it. And I really, and I'm not close to this at all, but I just thought, gosh, if everyone who knew me and who knew Sonder, I wish they knew charity water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want them to be so like together in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that at all, because I
Oh,
don't
you
have
don't.
things in my store, and I have a jerry can, but like I don't. It kind of
I feel
depends.
like,
Sometimes I talk about it a lot with the customers, sometimes I don't. There's
yeah.
been some really, you know, just really cool stories that have come out of it. I've got probably, well, two that really stick out to me,
Yeah.
just from, you know, a complete stranger, or they were a complete stranger at one time. This one gal actually came in last month, and I still had never met her, but she's like, I just turned 40, and I just wanted to tell you that I was at the gala the first year. And I just donated a well for my 40th birthday. So I'm
How
like,
cool.
she dropped 10,000 or 12.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, I'm glad she told me that, because you never know how far what kind
That's
of
what,
ripples you're going to create. And you never truly will, because you're not going to usually hear them, right?
yep.
So it's just, the impact you create goes so much further than you could ever know. And then another story that I just love, gosh, she came into the bakehouse like a year and a half ago. It was like July of 23. She came to Fargo on a whim at the last minute. She'd never been here before.
Mm-hmm.
She lives in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And we were talking, but she looked at my website and she saw something about charity water. So she's like, that's cool or, you know, she's connecting what she's doing like with a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So that must have spoke to her a little bit. And then I gave her, I have copies of Scott's book in my store.
Yeah.
I probably give more away than I sell, because I gave her a copy of the book. And a full year later, in July this past year, she emailed me and was like, that book was so amazing. Like, I finally like read it, and like, thank you. And if you're ever in Nashville, need a place to stay, let me know. And then a couple months later, I got Charity Water hosted this water weekend in Nashville in October. Yeah. I stayed with her, and she like went to one of the events with me, and turns out one of her friends is like a mega big supporter of Charity Water.
Oh, wow.
Like, how does this happen? And she was just such a delight, and like, I think she'll be a forever friend now.
Yeah.
They recently opened it's called this Experience Lab. Are you aware of that at all?
I cannot wait to visit. And since I'm in Atlanta,
yeah, you gotta
I'm
go.
driving distance. Yeah. And I'm like, take the kids for the weekend. I think that'll be a really fun trip.
Oh, yes. Bring your kids. And then, assuming they still have the HR, you can watch that video I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I have to go back too. I have a feeling I'll want to go back every year. They were giving some private tours. It wasn't done yet. That kind of weekend for water. And yeah, it was so cool. Just, it's going to open up so many people's eyes.
Yep.
And like, the gal beside me, you know, she had tears in her eyes after watching that video, and then she donated a well right after that. And I'm like, how many people are going to do that? So yeah, that space is so amazing. And now they've added so much more since I was there. And it officially opened to the public, I believe, on Saturday.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. And, you know, Charity Water has always been an innovator in that way, you know, of just find me another nonprofit that has an experience like this. Like I don't know. Anyone,
I
write in and tell us. This is the only one that I can think of that has this level of experience. And I think to your point that you brought up earlier, when you were teaching and you said the kids got it because they got the through line of like, hold up, other kids don't have access to water, what clean water, right? And they immediately got it. And I think that this helps just drill down for adults, I think too, who are like, well, their country should figure that out, or somebody else should handle that problem. When you're in an immersive experience like that, like I find it disrupts you. It disrupts you from like the way people have been chugging along. And it's like that moment is why somebody would donate a well after listening to that or being part of that experience. It's like a disruptor in that way. And I think Charity Water is really exceptional at doing that.
They are. Yeah. I don't know any charity that comes close to them. I wish others would. They've truly reinvented charity and
yeah,
just, yeah, pretty radical the way they operate in their 3 pillars and just, I don't know. I'm like, how could you not get on board? How could you not care? But, I know everyone has their causes and
yeah.
yes,
Well,
mine's clean water.
For you, one of the things we haven't touched on yet that I wanted to touch on was with the birthday fundraisers, and maybe it's happening at the gala too. You have woven in, from what I can tell, like if you've got a birthday fundraiser, I don't know what's your goal for this year's?
So I didn't know how to do this in the first point because Charity Water's like, you're hosting a gala for us? Like, people don't do that. Like, what? I was like, yeah, can I host a gala for you guys? Like, do I have your permission? Can I get some photos from you?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you want, because I have a local graphic designer. He's a
Let
friend,
me get a
right?
logo. Right.
He donates his time, but yeah, I'm like, he'll whip up a logo. Like, I can send you everything if you want to like okay it. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they were a little surprised at that. But I was like, well, I'm just fundraising, you guys.
Yeah.
But so the gala is linked with my birthday campaign.
Yep.
So people can donate to that. But I guess I don't know if it's kind of a higher goal than I've ever had. It's 75,000 this year.
Love it.
We are a long, long ways from that. But like the first year, the gala raised 51 something, and then last year was 49 something.
It's amazing.
So
remarkable.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's amazing. So what I've noticed,
I want to raise millions though. So.
And how do you raise millions? By starting exactly with what you're doing.
Start
like literally,
right?
Yes. Yes, you are doing it. You are completely doing it. You will raise millions. Is that the goal?
Yeah.
For you?
And just to see it eradicated in my lifetime, yes. I just really want that. And
yeah,
I don't know. They've come such a long ways, but also like, cause Scott speaks to, how frustrated he is. Cause like when they started, it was like 1 in 6 people didn't have clean water. Now it's 1 in 10. So like, I don't even think they've made like 3% of the way there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we still have 1 in 10 people, 700 million, but I don't know. They still think there's so much hope around it. It's completely solvable. It's just like, I don't know. It's like a lack of will and caring, and it's just an awareness, I guess. So
well, that's kind of what I'm thinking with like, you can say, I can say to my neighbor, right, that stat right there. Okay. And my neighbor may be like, okay. And then I stick my neighbor in this experience with the VR headset, like in it. She's going to have a different reaction. That's what I think is palpable, is going to help move this needle quickly. And then you layer on, there's so many different strategies, but you layer on what you're doing and what so many other birthday fundraisers are doing. Then you layer on other different giving, ways that they have going. So it's happening. It's moving the needle. One of my pillars though is I'm impatient. And so I get it. Like I match your impatience of like, I don't want this shit like eradicated in 400 years. I would like it. I actually would like it yesterday. I don't think that anyone should.
They're so behind
Yes. So like
We're
I
so
think that
behind the game on it.
impatience is in this instance helpful. It's moving you forward faster. With one of your fundraisers, I did notice you were like, one of the things that you do really well in weaving in the business is you'll like auction off cakes, right? And things like that. So you
Yeah.
weave it in. Tell us about that. Cause I think it's a really fun strategy.
I don't remember when I started doing that. First, I think even before that big birthday campaign in 2018, I started doing it for some local. It's called Giving Hearts Day, but it's like the biggest fundraiser in North Dakota and like northwestern Minnesota. They
Yeah.
raise millions of dollars that day. So I would always do it then, but then I just started randomly, doing it around my birthday. Like I think I did 5 cakes this year, but I usually do a couple more, so I should do one soon. Just like one, and it's kind of random, not much heads up, but
Yeah.
they don't, I don't know. The average is probably like 150 or so. They go, and it's nothing crazy. We had one story last year that the cake raised nearly 800, I think it was.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was really cool.
Was it like a limited edition flavor or something?
Yes, my
Like,
mom and this other guy, I didn't even know him. He's like near like my hometown. But yes, he would ask my mom, he'd text her like when's she gonna sell those cakes again? Because yes, they would get in bidding wars. And I think it went 3 or 350. And then so my mom ended up getting that one. But kind of this stop on the way home as our other friend's house.
yeah.
So random, but we share the same birthday. I do with Brad. So my mom gave it to Brad for his birthday. And they're like, where'd this come from? And then his wife, and then Brad and Cindy donated that same amount to my birthday campaign. And then there's something I'm forgetting because it was between $700 and $800.
It's amazing.
But like 3 people like essentially donated or gave money for that one cake.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on here? But she's like, I don't want that cake. It's my family like never eats the stuff I make, hardly ever. It's so funny. She'll always bid on cakes, but I'm like, who'd you give it to this time? Because she's like your birthday buddy. And then like the next day, I'm like, oh my gosh, Cindy donated that same amount that you paid.
That's amazing.
But yeah, cool. Like,
yeah.
And then it's just like to have people message her and be like, when's Kayla like doing that again? Because he just like looks forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, they're just on Facebook. They're really low key. It's just kind of when we have time to throw something extra together. So
yeah,
it's really, I don't know. It's easy and simple, and they just donate directly to that link. And like, I don't do any extra work really on my end.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna have to do one soon.
Yeah. So I'm curious too, if you could inspire just one person listening to take action today, especially one person who may be not in-house at a nonprofit. Maybe they're listening and they're like, ooh, I wanted to hear the Charity Water episode. I want to hear, or I'm kind of curious about, how I could help support a cause I care about. What would you want them to know? What would you want them to know?
Oh, I would hope that they would just start.
Yeah.
Start by doing what you know. And to me, I guess it's just along with like another passion of mine and something I enjoy doing and something that I'm somewhat good at. So like, what's a hobby of theirs? What's something they enjoy doing? I don't know if they could use that somehow.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're not, maybe they're a painter and they try selling their paintings. I've done lots of things in the name of charity over the years. Maybe they like to run. So the first big thing I did for another nonprofit, I ran a marathon. And I just asked people to donate, like maybe it was $1 per mile. And then just with the baking, I really like baking, and it's like second nature to me and just what I do. So yeah, hey, I'm going to auction off these cakes. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, or, people don't expect you to do something that hasn't been done before. But you want to enjoy it, right? Like the fundraising, the first 3 letters are FUN. So it should be fun. It should be joyful. And it isn't always
Yeah.
someday, but usually like it should be, and it should just be something that brings you joy. Because for me, at the end of the day, that's what sustains me, is that joy and that service to others. Because I mean, that's the biggest part of why I'm here.
I love that.
But just start by doing whatever it is that you like to do. I could give you another example too. I host a basketball tournament. So
Uh-huh.
once it's coming up
That's
next
cool.
week, I've raised over we've a friend and I, we do it together.
Yeah.
But we've raised over $60,000. But
What?
we've done it for this will be the 13th year. Um, so it does definitely take away a lot from my business and my work,
Uh-huh.
but I couldn't imagine not doing it.
Sounds
And
like
money to me is not like,
it fills your cup,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's just an honor of someone that we really cared about, a teacher of ours that passed away just after we
Yeah.
graduated high school. And we thought it was going to be a one-time deal, this basketball tournament.
Yeah.
So I'm really going off tangent here, but um if this is about fundraising, like
No, you're
maybe
welcome
you
to
could
go off tangent.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Cuz we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
We were freshmen in college, and we asked our basketball coaches if they could like help us and like be refs. So we had to find volunteers,
Mm-hmm.
like 30 to 40, because we have concessions, there's scorekeepers. But anyways,
Yeah.
that first year we didn't even raise 1,500. We raised just over 1,500, and there
Okay.
were 16 teams. Well, last year there were 42 teams, and we raised 300.
Wow.
And it's a one day, this basketball tournament. Like it goes
That
from
sounds so
8 to
fun
4.
too.
It is. And just so many unexpected blessings have come out of that. And then just kind of after it later, volunteers and friends of ours are like, that was so fun. Like, when are you doing it again?
Yep. Yep.
Like, what? We're not doing this again, you
See, you
guys?
don't know this, but
We did it again and
yeah,
again and
you
again.
have signature events. You have a basketball fundraiser that is now a signature event. You have your birthday fundraiser, which is a signature event, and you have your gala, which is a signature event. I
Oh,
love it. I love it.
oh,
I'm curious. I've got two last questions for you. So this is
okay.
a very serious question, which is, what is your favorite thing to bake?
Oh, cheesecake probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because it's I don't know.
I feel like
It's kind
cheesecake
of
is like a science. Like, it's
it's
hard.
easy. So and that's only because I just have a lot of nostalgia like behind it. Um,
I love it.
it was the first thing people started paying me for to make when I was
Oh,
16. So here's another story for you. I
yeah.
was a sophomore, small town. It was our annual fundraiser for FFA. So it was a pie auction. There's the auctioneer, you just stand up there with your pie.
Yeah.
Well, I asked the advisor, I was like, can I make a cheesecake? Sure.
Yeah.
And then my friend wanted me to make her cheesecake. Well, those two cheesecakes sold for way more than normal. But that's because my uncle was being really silly and he paid like $375 for one of them. So then, like, the whole town thought I made good cheesecake or something. And he just believed in me and was
Yeah.
supporting me. And we lost him about a year ago now. And a couple days before the last gala,
Yeah.
I was like, I think we should do a live auction. Like, and Scott, I know, or our MC, and he's a buddy. And like, I was like, do you have auctioneering skills?
Sure. Yeah.
He's like, okay, yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'm a
Yeah.
theater guy. We could figure something out.
Yeah.
So,
You just need to be hyped up, and you got it. Yeah.
yeah, he was great. So we just did 3 of them, but like they went over well. They raised over $5,000.
My gosh.
But yeah, and that was just, I don't know. It was just such a core memory for me doing that and I was like, I want to recreate that and do it again and see what people do in
Yep.
Fargo with it.
Yep.
And they did something all right. So, there'll be more of that this year.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
But yeah, cheesecake probably.
That's a good one. So we ask every guest on the podcast to share a thought or a belief they like to think on purpose. So this could be a mantra, an affirmation, just something that you feel like guides you forward. Would you share one of yours with our listeners?
So I just really have a belief in God, I guess, and I know not everyone does, and that's fine. Whatever it does, whatever your thing, whatever your higher power, whatever
Yeah.
your belief is, I think that he puts, I don't know, I think he's placed things on my heart,
Mhm.
and charity water is one of them. And just really giving and serving and just um there are, no joke, lots of days where I wake up and just one of the first things I think of is how can I be the hands and feet of Jesus today? And there's so many different ways. Just how can you be
Of
just a giving,
service. Yeah.
generous? Yep. At the end of the day, it's just all about service to me, serving others because I've been given so much
Yeah.
and just,
Well,
yeah,
you're doing it. You are
that
doing it.
was not a,
No, that was
I wish
great.
I would have had thought on that more though. Um,
That
but
was
just
perfect.
serving others
Yeah.
it's never led me astray. It's always been so fulfilling and purposeful and
Well, I think that everything you shared is going to be, I can't underscore how helpful it's going to be for our listeners because you've shared it through the point of view of a donor, of a fundraiser, of a supporter, of an organization you care deeply about. And you've showed us your why, if that makes sense. A lot of nonprofits spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to get their mission in front of people. And so you've given us an inside look. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for the work that you're doing. I mean, you're going to raise $1 million. It's happening. It's done.
oh,
I can see it. So
thank you for
I'll
inviting me
be,
to be on here.
yes.
I have to listen to your podcast, but this was such an honor. And, I don't get asked about it that, often here, or it's, once in a while a customer in the store and
Yeah.
I'm like, how much time do you have? Because
Yep.
there's so many different things that I could say to you right now. Cause it's something that I could talk about all day. And we
Yes.
don't want to do that to anyone.
Well, where can people connect with you? We'll link it too in the show notes as well.
Okay, so we've got Instagram, Sonder Bakehouse, and then just a website, sonderbakehouse.com. There's some info, but that's mostly kind of just about like the gala.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Anyone
then
local to
a
you needs to
Facebook
come.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be amazing. But yeah, you probably have listeners all over the country.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing your podcast for?
We are over 2 years in, 2.5 almost. Yeah.
Is it, how often do you, like, weekly or
Weekly.
monthly or how?
Hmm.
Wow,
Yeah. I
that's
love
so
it. You're
cool.
like, I said yes. I didn't know what I was signing up for. I just
No,
said
and like
yes. It's perfect. I love it.
well, I'm not, yeah, I'm definitely very much a yes girl if it comes to like charity water, but I mean, I don't always love it. It puts me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I really don't, and I mean, this is true for probably most people. Like, I don't feel like I'm very good at asking people for money, and like, I don't like that some days, and I hear no a lot. So like, but every time I'm like, this isn't for you, this isn't about you, like, step out of your head. Like, this is for, a purpose that is much, much beyond you. So
So that's how you keep going when you're fundraising and you hear no. I love that self-talk. I love that. That's
yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you so much, Kayla. We so appreciate your generosity and cheering you on in what you're doing.